Bé, bon dia. Diuen que la tercera va a la vençuda. Si us sembla, iniciem, iniciem aquesta edició del País Convidat. Bé, no sé si em veieu a mi o continueu veient una caràtula, però en tot cas, qui us parla, soc Laura Ripoll, cap de l'Oficina Internacional, i us vull donar una molt breu benvinguda en aquesta 8a edició del País Convidat que aquest any dediquem a Indonèsia, un país que està entre dos continents, Àsia i Oceania, i entre dos oceans, el Pacífic i l'Índic, i que de ben segur que s'explicaran coses ben interessants. Sapigueu que teniu el xat per fer preguntes i inicio la sessió donant-li la paraula al vicerrector de Relacions Internacionals i de Projectes Estratègics de la Universitat de Girona. Gràcies a tots per venir i benvinguts. Josep?
Sí, gràcies, Laura. Mateu, potser si deixes de compartir em veuran a mi. Vale, molt bé, gràcies. Em sembla que ara sí que hi han de veure. Bon dia, good morning. If I may, I'm going to present this activity, the Week of the Invited Country, in Catalan. But let me first welcome our guest, Dr. Ismandar, who is joining us from Indonesia. Good afternoon, Dr. Ismandar. Dit això, Laura, Marlissa, Mateu, Bert, sobretot tots els assistents, benvinguts. Benvinguts a la UDG, benvinguts a aquest espai virtual de la UDG, a aquesta activitat, la d'avui, la d'aquest dematí, que obre la setmana del País Convidat. Com tots sabeu, la Laura ho acaba de dir, tots ho sabeu perquè us ho heu apuntat, que enguany aquest País Convidat és Indonèsia. Aquesta activitat, la del País Convidat, és una de les que estan previstes en el Pla Estratègic d'Internacionalització de la UDG. El pla cerca la incorporació de la Universitat de Girona al procés creixent d'internacionalització de l'educació superior a tot el món. L'objectiu central de l'estratègia d'internacionalització de la UDG és incrementar de forma significativa la internacionalització de la universitat, plantejada de forma integral. Per tant, incloent la mobilitat dels estudiants i del personal, l'atracció d'estudiants internacionals, la internacionalització curricular, l'increment de les estades curtes, la internacionalització de les pràctiques, la dimensió global de les estratègies de cooperació, integrar també les eines digitals a escala global. En definitiva, la UDG vol facilitar i potenciar que tota la seva comunitat visqui experiències internacionals de tipologia diversa. Així, el conjunt dels agents que integren la Universitat de Girona, les facultats i les escoles, els instituts de recerca, els departaments, les àrees, els serveis, assumeixen que cal integrar la perspectiva internacional en la seva estratègia futura. Això afecta a moltes àrees, de les quals en puc destacar dues. Per una banda, la Universitat de Girona es planteja el repte d'incrementar la mobilitat d'estudiants fins a situar-se per sobre del llindar mínim previst per la Unió Europea. I cerca també un increment significatiu de la mobilitat de tot el personal, sigui PTGAS o PDI. L'Aliança Europea d'Universitats, de la que la UDG forma part, és a dir, l'Aliança ACROS, hauria d'ajudar també en aquest sentit. Per altra banda, la Universitat de Girona fixa com a prioritat el desenvolupament d'un ventall ampli d'activitats i propostes relacionades amb el que s'anomena la internacionalització a casa, Internationalization at Home, amb la finalitat que tots els estudiants de l'UDG tinguin la possibilitat de desenvolupar, com deia abans, una experiència d'internacionalització independentment dels condicionants econòmics, socials i personals. És precisament en aquest segon aspecte, el de la internacionalització a casa, que s'emmarca el País Convidat, una activitat que l'estratègia UDG Global ha potenciat i que ara ja podem considerar plenament consolidada a la Universitat de Girona. L'objectiu fonamental de l'activitat del País Convidat és apropar la realitat geogràfica, cultural, social i política d'un determinat país, en aquest cas aquest any Indonèsia, a la nostra comunitat universitària, amb la finalitat de potenciar la visió global de la UDG. A més, enguany, la participació dels i les estudiants en les activitats podrà ser reconeguda, si assistiu a un mínim de sessions i completeu les corresponents enquestes, amb un crèdit i mig STS i també amb mig punt com a una activitat dins del programa de reconeixement de la competència internacional. És a dir, que participar, assistir a les activitats del país convidat us pot ajudar, en primer lloc i fonamentalment, a saber moltes més coses al voltant d'aquest país i de l'Extrem Orient. I en segon lloc, també, doncs, a obtenir un reconeixement acadèmic i de la vostra competència internacional. A més, en aquesta ocasió, aquest any, el contingut de les activitats de la Setmana del País Convidat s'ha elaborat en col·laboració amb els responsables del grau en Global Studies de la Facultat de Turisme de la nostra universitat. Així doncs, la Setmana del País Convidat també és una de les dues Global Weeks que ofereixen aquests estudis, concretament la del segon semestre. Potenciar el programa del País Convidat implica augmentar les activitats ofertes i augmentar les relacions amb les universitats dels països de referència. Això ja ha passat amb els països que ho hem fet els anys anteriors, Mèxic, Brasil, els països bàltics, Tunísia, Irlanda, Kènia i Xile. Això en els darrers 7 anys. Altres dels beneficis que han generat les edicions anteriors han estat intensificar les relacions amb aquests països, creació de programes de conferències, la participació activa d'associacions i estudiants o també la creació de pràctiques o d'un programa de pràctiques específic en algun d'aquests països. I això, aquesta intensificació de les relacions, és el que volem que passi també amb Indonèsia, un país força desconegut o almenys desconegut pel que fa a les seves universitats i potencial acadèmic i de recerca. Un país amb qui la UDG manté convenis de col·laboració en el marc del programa Erasmus K171 amb 8 universitats, majoritàriament aquests convenis impulsats pel professorat de la Facultat de Turisme. Per tant, un país amb qui les possibilitats de concretar intercanvis i col·laboracions són ben reals. Per tant, esperem que aquesta setmana ajudi a inspirar nous contactes entre la UDG i Indonèsia com a país i les seves universitats com a institucions amb les quals col·laborar. Una setmana en què, ho haureu vist en el programa, hi ha activitats diverses de tipus cultural i social. Parlarem de geografia, de llengües, d'art, d'economia, de turisme, de pel·lícules, de música, de gastronomia i d'altres coses. Espero que moltes de les activitats siguin, doncs, del vostre interès. Avui encara no puc anunciar quin serà el país convidat de l'any que ve. No obstant, atès que ja fa 3 anys que no és un país europeu i que just ara, el 2025, hem iniciat el recorregut, com deia abans, de l'Aliança Europea d'Universitats, ACROS, molt probablement el país convidat de l'any que ve serà un d'aquests països europeus que acull altres universitats de l'Aliança. Aviat ho sabrem, aviat ho decidirem, i així l'Oficina Internacional ja començarà a preparar les activitats corresponents per l'any que ve. Això em porta a aprofitar per agrair la feina de l'Oficina Internacional, de la Laura, del Mateu, i molt especialment de la investigadora postdoctoral de la UDG, la Marlisa Trícia, que sent originària d'Indonèsia ha estat cabdal per poder preparar les activitats d'enguany. També agraeixo a totes les persones de la UDG de fora que col·laboraran aquests dies aportant el seu coneixement i ens faran gaudir de les activitats. I must also acknowledge the cooperation of several Indonesian institutions, for example, the Ministry of Culture and the Ministry of Tourism, the Indonesian Embassy in Spain, and other entities such as the Gamelan Barsbara, Association Gamelan Barcelona, that will be offering a workshop and a performance of Indonesian music on Friday, 9th of May. Also, the Erasmus Plus program through the KAA 171 Actions must be acknowledged for its support. Dit això, doncs, amb tots aquests agraïments i amb aquesta presentació, podem passar la paraula a la resta de ponents. Crec que ara la Marlisa, que ha ajudat molt a preparar aquesta setmana, ens dirà algunes paraules. Marlisa, endavant, gràcies.
Muchas gracias, Vice Rector. So now we will have an opening speech from the Minister of the Culture of the Republic of Indonesia, Mr. Fadlison. However, today he couldn't not join us directly due to important official duties. But nevertheless, he has graciously prepared us a video of a message. And let us now watch the opening speech from the Minister of the Culture.
Perdoneu, sembla que hi ha un problema tècnic i no se sent el vídeo. Ara mirem d'arreglar-ho.
Distinguished members of faculties, students, colleagues and friends, esteemed participants and fellow cultural champions, ladies and gentlemen, buenos dias. May peace be upon us all. It is a great pleasure that I join you for the opening of Festival Indonesia at the University de Girona. This event represents a significant milestone in our effort to promote and safeguard our nation's rich cultural heritage. It will also serve as an important platform for students and academia to gain a deeper understanding of our nation, Indonesia, as well as to strengthen people-to-people connection and foster mutual respect. To this end, I strongly commend the University de Girona and its vision and commitment to culture and education, which have made this important event possible. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to begin by introducing the Ministry of Culture, a newly established ministry within President Prabowo Subianto's administration. For the first time in our history, culture has been given its own dedicated ministry, reinforcing our national commitment to protecting, developing, utilizing, and advancing culture as a strategic pillar of national development. President Prabowo Subianto has a grand vision stated in Asta Cita. Asta Cita, especially point 8, emphasizes the importance of strengthening the harmony between human life, the environment, nature, and culture in order to achieve a just and prosperous society. Our vision is also deeply rooted in the National Constitution of 1945, reinforcing our duty to not only preserve our cultural heritage, but also to actively contribute to the global civilization and cultural ecosystem. This commitment has been realized for the first time in Indonesian history since Indonesian independence through the establishment of the Ministry of Culture. In this context, the Ministry of Culture has formulated several policy priorities as an integral part of our efforts to reinvent Indonesian identity. First, protection and revitalization of cultural heritage. Second, cultural development, utilization, and empowerment. Third, cultural diplomacy, promotion, and cooperation. Aim to strengthen bilateral and multilateral cooperation for cultural exchange programs, conservation, and policy alignment. In today's interconnected world, culture has become a bridge between peoples and nations. Cultural diplomacy is a prerequisite for peace, mutual understanding, and cooperation. Indonesia is a nation of extraordinary cultural wealth and diversity. We call it a mega diversity. With 280 million people across more than 17,000 islands, 1,340 ethnic groups, and 718 local languages, we represent nearly 10% of global linguistic heritage. We have officially recorded more than 2,300 intangible cultural heritage elements and more than 228 cultural heritage sites nationally recognized. Indonesia is also a window into humanity's oldest chapters. Our identity is rooted in one of the oldest continuous civilizations on Earth. We hold the largest collection of ancient human fossils, with 60% of the world's Homo erectus fossils discovered in our territory. The prehistoric cave paintings of Leang Leang in Sulawesi Island, dated more than 51,000 years old, are the oldest artistic expressions by humankind. Culture, however, does not only refer to the legacy of the past, but also as a vital pillar upon which we build a better future for all. Ladies and gentlemen, Spain and Indonesia share centuries-old histories, shaped by trade, maritime encounters, and global exchanges. Yet, the future lies in how our younger generations rediscover and reinterpret those connections. The foundation for this is already in place. The Ministry of Culture also regards culture as a vital element of soft power to strengthen relations between Indonesia and other countries. In 2004, Indonesia and Spain signed the Agreement on Cultural and Educational Cooperation as a framework to expand cooperation in the fields of education, arts, language, heritage, and cultural exchange. This festival Indonesia, Paes Konvidat, reflects the spirit of that agreement, amplifies its impacts and contribution. We hope this model of collaboration will inspire similar initiatives across universities in Spain and throughout Europe. By embracing culture for the future, we also hope that our youth will look back to our culture as a roadmap to the solution of the complex problems that we face now and in the future. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much.
Moltes gràcies al ministre pel seu vídeo gravat. Thank you very much, the minister, for this recorded presentation. Marlisa, do you want to introduce also Dr. Ismunandar?
Yes, thank you very much to Mr. Fadlizon for his warm and inspiration words. So moving on the next part of our program, we are privileged to have a special class conducted by Professor Ismunandar. So allow me to briefly introduce him. Professor Ismunandar graduated with a degree in the chemistry in 1992. And in his professional career, Professor Ismunandar also has many important positions. For example, director of the Asian Regional Science and Teacher Training. And most recently, he also represented Indonesia as an ambassador and alternative permanent delegation to the UNESCO from 2021 to 2024. And currently, he serves as an expert staff on the interinstitutional relations to the Ministry of the Culture of Indonesia. So we are truly fortunate to have him with us today. Without further ado, please join me in the welcoming Professor Ismunandar.
Thank you so much, Ibu Marlisa, and also colleague in the University of Girona, and also students. And I'm so happy and delighted to be part of the program. And I'm also, as a minister said, this is truly an honor for Indonesia to be represented as in the festival of your university. Let me share with you some of my presentations, some of my slides. Hopefully that is available in the, is it okay? Yes, okay. Well, let me start by saying that Indonesia, many of colleagues that I meet in when I was in United States as well as part of the embassy in there. When I was there, many people doesn't know Indonesia. But Indonesia actually is a quite large country. Is it in the equators? And Indonesia is not only Bali. Some of you might know Indonesia or heard of Indonesia. And when people say that Bali is the one of the island that is very famous and many people knows, but Indonesia is not Bali. Indonesia actually, Bali is only one among about 13,000 of islands. So if you visit one of the island Indonesia per day, it will take you about 36 years to visit all island Indonesia. And if we can see from the map here, that Indonesia is actually about 12.5% of the circumference of the Earth. So it's about 1/8 of the Earth. If you fly all over the Earth, then it's actually, if you fly 12.5%, you have to fly over Indonesia. next map, we can overlap Indonesian map with Europe, so we can see that the vast territory of Indonesia. It is from the west to the east. If we fly, direct flight, it's about 7 hours. So from the most west of Indonesia, Sumatra, to the most east of Indonesia, Papua, it takes 6 to 7 hours flight. 60% of our territory is water. So it's just like our body. It's about 60%. I'm, as mentioned by Ibu Melissa, I'm a chemistry professor. So in our body, so 60% of our body is about water, yeah. And Indonesia, about 60% of our territory also water. The land is only 40%. But again, as I mentioned, the number of islands, there are many small islands, many of them unoccupied. Many of them still doesn't have name, so it still need to be explored, need to be identified. The one that is appear here is only the big islands. Our current population is about 7 times more than 7 times more than population of Spain. Indonesian population currently is about 280 million peoples. Yeah, so it's about so in the world today, it's probably in the 4th after India, China, US, and then the 4th is Indonesia. So we have enough people in Indonesia. We have and our population is still quite young. Population of Indonesia is still quite young. Next slide. Indonesia is mentioned by the Minister of Culture that Indonesia have long tradition and also have long remaining of our history of mankind. So, for example, 60% of human remaining, the fossils of human remainings, it was found in Indonesia. The recent research shown that the rock art, the art of our ancestors that found in the cave, it has age of 53 years, 53,000 years. So it was suggested that this is among the oldest rock art in the world. Yeah, so this is also found recently in Sulawesi, one of the island in Indonesia. So there are many exploration that need to be done, and if you are interested in archaeology, interested in paleontology, then Indonesia is the place that you might or you must visit, because there are many things that need to be explored, need to be studied. Next slide, I will show a little bit about variation of Indonesia. With the vast area of Indonesia, it is not surprising that we have many diversity because of the islands, so many islands, there are so many, and then in the past, of course, the connection between islands is very difficult, and still now in some of the part of Indonesia. So there are many ethnic groups in Indonesia. We have about 1,340 ethnic groups. They are speaking several local languages. We've been identified in Indonesia, there is about 718 local languages. Many of them is especially in the most east part of Indonesia, in Papua. There are many local languages there. And if you know, the local number of local language in the world now is about 7,000. So about 10% of the local languages in the world is in Indonesia. Of course, many of them are spoken by just small number of peoples. and many of them are dying actually, because many of them now, many Indonesian population speak the national languages. Our national language is Bahasa Indonesia, and Bahasa Indonesia is the actually the root of Bahasa Indonesia is a language spoken by a small ethnic group. It's like minority. Why become the national languages when we are independence 80 years ago? It is because these special languages is already used as a language for trading, language for communication between several ethnic groups 100 years before our independence. So in the Dutch era, because Indonesia has been colonized by Dutch in the past, in the Dutch era, most of Indonesians speak Melayu, Bahasa Melayu at that time. And then we adopted when we independence, become our national language, Bahasa Indonesia. The Bahasa Indonesia and the national language is so successful, and as I mentioned now, many of the local languages is dying. So if you are interested in local language, how you preserve, conserve the local language, the ethnic languages, this is also a place that you can study, a place that's interested for you to how we can revitalize the local language, because we believe that in the local language, in the ethnic languages, there are also science, technology, and many of the culturals behind the languages. So this is interesting. Indonesia also rich in biodiversity, although this is including the land and also the sea or water diversity. We are hosting 17% of world wildlife, mammals, palmae, and others, and also amphibians. So with all those diversity, Indonesia is famous of one of our logo and national logo. This is our national emblem. Is Garuda Pancasila. Is like a bird with word called Bhinneka Tunggal Ika is written in the emblem, and this is in Sanskrit word, and it's mean unity in diversity. So that is Indonesian faces. I just want to share with you, and next slide. This is sorry, this is actually in Portuguese, but because we are also Indonesia also quite sometimes, of course, English is part of Indonesian language as well. We adopt or we absorb many English words, but also like other languages as well. So Portuguese is also in Indonesia is part of the trading, as also Spanish also in that time, the Spain having connection with Indonesia, but Portuguese is having probably a bit intense, more intense a little bit than Spain. So we are surprisingly also quite adopt some of like local language. So some of this is like a short video we can see together. Hopefully it's working. Please just play.
Bandeira.
Bandera.
Sapatos.
Oh!
Why not? Why not?
Why not?
Do you guys realize that we have a similar word in Portuguese and in Indonesia? What is this in your language?
Bandeira.
Bandera.
Sapatos.
Oh!
1, 2, 3. Queijo. Manteiga. Natal.
Natal.
Tinta.
Tinta.
Tinta. Janela.
Jendela.
Boneca. I'm surprised.
The last one. 1, 2, 3.
Garfo.
Well, this is also Indonesia have the GP or the Grand Prix route, or what you call. We sometimes also hosting this what's you call the hosting this championship as well. Next one, the next slide. Now, this is the program that we also Indonesian do. Our embassy in Barcelona, I believe they started, or if they're not started yet, then university can ask them. Or if University of Girona want to start the local language or Bahasa Indonesian courses, then we can collaborate to start a new Bahasa Indonesia courses. Or probably you already started. Next one. Well, this is the culture. As the minister mentioned, we Indonesia have many cultural side that is interesting. And one of the, Ibu Melissa mentioned that I was part of Indonesian delegation in UNESCO. And the minister asked me specifically to make Indonesia more represented in UNESCO. Because at the moment, only 10 of Indonesian site is registered in UNESCO World Heritage Site. While Spain, I believe you have, if I'm not mistaken, you in Spain have about 50 World Heritage Site in UNESCO. So we are still underrepresented. Among the Indonesian cultural site, we have, of course, if I mentioned, the human remain on the fossil, the old or the what you call the old human situs. We have Borobudur, the Buddhist temple, the Prambanan, and we have the cultural landscape of Bali. This is the local or the traditional way to manage water, to how to use for the agriculture sustainably. And also we have the what we call in Indonesia called batubara, or the coal mining, old coal mining. So it is believed to be the first technical or first manufacturer of coal, or what you call the first coal mining technology in that time. Yeah. So this is from the Dutch era. This is if you want to see how the old mining was done, then you can visit this site. And then the new one, the inscribed in 2023 is Yogyakarta. It's a city in the Central Java. This is still one special region in Indonesia. This is still in kingdom. So Indonesia is actually a republic, but specifically for this region, they still have the kingdom system. So this is one of the World Heritage Site as well. And then natural heritage, we have 4 natural heritage. Among of them is Sumatra tropical rainforest. This is like all the way from the island of Sumatra. Is very big island from the north to the east, from the north to the south is tropical rainforest. And then we have Lawrence. This is in Papua. Specifically, this World Heritage is because this is you can see the forever what you call we have because there's a mountain that is very high, and then this is always what you call is like always winter in the top of the mountain. Yeah, although we are in the equator, but because so high, the mountain is so high, so this we have the snow, forever snow in the top of the mountain in Indonesia. And along with this is also this is in this national park, the national park of Lawrence we call. We have the vegetation all the way from the sea until the top of mountains that we have forever snow. And then we have also Komodo Island. If you search in the internet, Komodo is the reptile, the giant reptile. This is the only habitat remaining in the world now. The population is okay now. We have about 5,000 population of Komodo, the big lizard. Yeah, it can weigh up to 200 kilogram. And the lizard, yeah, the very big, the giant lizard. And then we have also a national park in Ujung Kulon. This is in West Java. And this is specially host or the only habitat remaining for Java rhino. Java rhino is rhino with one horn. And this is only in Java now. The population currently is only 70 individual. So if the 70 individual rhino is died, then we don't have any rhino anymore in the world. So this is, we need a conservation specific, and there are many problems there because the population is so small. We have to do a lot of work to make sure that the population is sustained. Next slide. I want to show you that this is also the biodiversity of Indonesia. We have 20 biosphere. What you call the biosphere, yeah. The biosphere is the some of them also registered as World Heritage, but this is specifically about how we conserve the biodiversity in Indonesia. Next slide. We saw also that Indonesia is also having a diversity in geological. So in Indonesia, UNESCO also have program called Geopark, Global Geopark, and this is showing the diversity or the variety in how geological heritage of the world. Yeah, so we have the Geopark that specifically show the variety in volcano, in variety in karst, and variety in the beach, and also in the lake. Yeah, several spaces there. We have actually, until now, we have 12 geopark in Indonesia, and all over the world, I think now it's about 200 something. Yeah, this is data of 2023. We haven't updated that for the last 2025. So we have diversity, but again, because we have so many volcanoes, so many water and ocean, we also in Indonesia is very famous of what we call is disaster. Yeah, we have so many disasters in Indonesia. We have earthquake, we have tsunami, you name it. Yeah. So the big one also, of course, if you heard the Aceh tsunami in 2004, it's very deadliest in history. It's about 200,000 people were died during the accidents, the disasters. And to be honest, I personally was there at that time because I was invited to give a lecture in local university in there. But luckily I can escape from the tsunami just before the water came to the city. So that's Indonesia in terms of the diversity of the in the plantation, in the biological diversity, and also the geological diversity. Now moving next slide, I believe now is how the national cultural heritage. I mentioned before that we have 10 that is registered in UNESCO, but our national cultural site is actually about 228. So there are many that still need to be registered. This is potential to be registered as a World Heritage because many of them are very unique. Many of them is giving a uniqueness and also give lesson to the world and also to our future generations. Next slide. We have also intangible cultural heritage. Our diversity is also shown here. In the intangible cultural heritage, nationally we have 2,213 and keep increasing every year because every year we have a program to identify and also inventory of our national cultural heritage. Next slide. Although we have many nationally, but the one that is registers in UNESCO is we have 16 at the moment. Yeah, 16 at the moment. So we have several cultural heritage that is already registered in UNESCO. This is the problem. We have again underrepresented in UNESCO, but at the moment, because UNESCO itself has a limitation, they can only process certain number of file in a year. So there is a quota that we can use, or we can, as a state party, can nominate to UNESCO. Next slide. This is showing some of the intangible cultural heritage. This is gamelan, yeah. Gamelan, Indonesian gamelan, is played by South Bank Gamelan in England. This is one of university, I believe. So please play a little bit the video so you can hear the ensemble. Yeah, so this kind of ensemble of instruments, mostly percussion, out of metals, usually bronze or brass. Yeah, so and this is these instruments typically we have in our embassy. So I believe in Barcelona, embassy in Indonesia, embassy in Barcelona, they might have, and they can be used. Or some of university may have this instrument as well. Next slide. Yeah, this gamelan is also in the record of Debussy, for example. It's been some of his composition also been inspired by gamelan, because in that time I think in exposition in France, in Paris, at that time, there was a Indonesian troupe, Indonesian exhibition there, and gamelan was played. And in the record, Debussy is hearing the ensemble, and some of the composition was inspired by gamelan. Next slide. This is just another Indonesian intangible cultural heritage. It's called angklung. It's from bamboo instruments, and it's play also in ensemble. Yeah, each of the person, each of people, each participants usually hold one note. Yeah, if you have do re mi fa sol la si do, then each person have one special note. So you have to play if you want to play a music or a song, then you have to play in a group. Yeah. Next slide. Just this is another instruments. This is, I believe, is having influence of the Europe or instruments, and we can play a little bit here. I don't know whether this is Spain or Portuguese instruments. We can play the videos a little bit. It's very fun.
Lambat sang waktu berganti, dapatkanlah aku di sini. Coba untuk lupakan bayangan dirimu yang selalu saja satu merindumu. Sekian lama aku mencoba menepikan diriku di redupnya hati.
Yes, yeah, it's just to show that this is the string instrument. It's quite popular in Indonesia, and we try also to nominate this to UNESCO. But as I mentioned before, that the nomination of UNESCO is a limitation of the quota. So we try to nominate together with other countries, probably with potential with Spain or Portugal or other countries that having the similar culture, because of if we nominate together between country, usually there are additional of quota. So this is potential to be done together. I think I hope that I show you some of variety of Indonesian cultures, Indonesian heritage, and also as the minister said, culture is part of the history, is a part of the human intelligence in the past that we can learn. I believe because culture has been developed as part of their life of our ancestors, and they are developing based on their local knowledge and local intelligence, and is the one that remain, the one that sustain, I believe is the one that is very fit to the challenges that they face. So we believe culture is a solution to global challenges and with local challenges that we face also. And as Minister mentioned, that this program can be inspired to other similar initiative in other university in Spain and also in Europe. And we believe and we hope that this can be a platform also to do the electronic exchange. Of course, face-to-face is very important, but in today's world with several challenges and also, but in the same time also with several advantages and several facilities, we can do also the exchanges through internet or through online and digitals. With that, I thank you so much. And if there is any question, then I'm happy to answer if I can. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Professor Ismunandar, for your interesting class. Actually, I feel really proud now as an Indonesian. I learned a lot from the class. So to let you know about the gamelan, you can see them actually personally and learn how to do it on May 9 in the campus Montilivi. And another workshop about the wayang or puppet shadow and also batik will be explained on April 30. So don't forget about that. Please join us on April 30 and also May 9. So now we open a question and answer. If any student or participants want to have a question related with Indonesia, please raise your hand. Okay.
There is already, sorry, there is already a question on the chat.
Okay.
Is asking how many tourists visit Indonesia every year and from which countries?
It's a good question. And let me check. Yeah, the number of tourists in Indonesia is actually not very good one yet in comparing, for example, with our neighboring country, even like Singapore, I believe. We are still, as I mentioned in the opening of my lectures, that many people have not know Indonesia yet. So I hope that you will also spread this all over your friends. That Indonesia is, we have many nice beaches. We have many nice cultural site and cultural exhibition, cultural performances that you can see. Indonesia actually have about 13 million, 14 million a year tourists visiting Indonesia. Mostly is from our neighboring country, of course, from Singapore, from Malaysia, and from Australia, Japan then next. But from Europe, we are still not as many as we expecting, as many as we want. Yeah, so we do hope that it's not too far from Europe. I think it's about 10, 12 hours flight. Some of the country having direct flight. I'm not sure whether Barcelona having direct flight to Indonesia. No?
Yes, from no, we don't have a direct flight.
Yes, yes. But we have direct flight from, I think from Den Haag, yeah, from Amsterdam, I believe, then, and also some other country probably, yeah. Yeah. But it's not too far. It's not too far with nice beaches and things like that. And Indonesia is very not too expensive. The living cost in Indonesia is very expensive. You can get a nice hotel with about less than €100. You can get a 5-star hotel in Indonesia. Yes. So it's the cost of visiting Indonesia is not too expensive. So please visit us.
Okay. It is obvious that there are many students from the Faculty of Tourism here. And there is another question about tourism. As you have a lot of population, is the internal tourism important for Indonesia? It's the internal one, because if you have so many islands that you need so long time to visit, are there internal tourism? Is there?
More and more, internal tourism is quite important, and with a number of population. But again, the living standard of Indonesia is quite. We are improving, but we are in the developing countries. Not many people are quite having what you call support to have a luxury to do the tourism. So we are still developing, but then the government also have a program time to time to, like, for example, during special holiday, they try to also extend the holiday to make the tourism is part of the lifestyle of the people, and they also encourage to do local tourism. Well, as you may can imagine that because of the vast area of Indonesia, some of the between island, the connection is still need to be developed, and that's sometimes people easier to go overseas rather than to go to other islands. So this is also a paradox. Yeah, we want to encourage people to visit other island, unless you are very what you call adventurous. Then sometimes it's quite a challenge to visit other island in Indonesia, to visit other cities in Indonesia. So this is also homework for us in Indonesia, how to develop interconnection in terms of transportation and other facilities. Yes.
Okay, thank you. There are no any other questions on the chat, and I cannot see any person in the audience asking for something.
If I may,
Yes.
I would like to have one question. Thank you for your class, Dr. Ismail Undar. So my question is there any cultural manifestation that is shared by all ethnic groups in some way? So I understood that there are many ethnic groups. So is there something that is shared by all of them or most of them in some way, beyond the language, I mean?
Well, of course, the one that is very important for us with so many ethnic groups is we share the common purpose. We share the common goals. And this is the one that make us one nation. Of course, there are challenges. Sometimes what kind of like one of part of province, they try to be independent from us, but then we manage to make it one nation, one purpose, one goals, because of our common and share history, and actually, as our emblem of nation also said, this is like, although we are diverse, actually there is some common thread or common, if we try to connect, sometimes the variation between them is just subtle, is small variation, but there is a variation, but then we understand each other. Some languages actually also share because of the same root or something. So that also make easier for us. So yeah, and also for example, in food, in dance, in some tradition, there are some common or share culture between them. So this is also that is common theme among several variation in Indonesia.
Thank you.
It's interesting. You must see it directly.
Yeah, I must go. I must go sometime. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Yes.
Then, since there are no more questions and we are almost at 10, I want to thank you, Professor Ismunadar, for his class. As you have seen, o com heu vist tots, o heu sentit tots, ha sigut un tast, o com també ha explicat la Marlissa, un tast de tot el que veurem aquests dies. I com sempre que fem el País Convidat, el primer que passa és que agafen moltes ganes d'anar-hi i a veure-ho en directe. Si us sembla bé, tancarem aquí la sessió. Us recordem que per entrar a la següent cal sortir i tornar a utilitzar el mateix link. Són coses de la tecnologia, però és una manera com una altra d'aconseguir comptar-vos a tots per tot el tema acadèmic que hi ha al darrere. Thank you very much for your collaboration and I hope to see you soon. Gràcies. Fins ara. Adéu.
Thank you, Pa.